Hello and welcome to NVC, IGN's Nintendo podcast. I'm your host, Casey DeFreitas, and this week we will be talking about Byleth and Smash, Pokemon Home, and a whole lot more. And this week I'm joined by Tom Marks.
Hello.
Per Schneider.
I'm back.
And Zach Ryan.
Per and I are enemies.
Yeah, they were fighting before we got on.
It's a little behind-the-scenes info for you. Me and Per are fighting.
I don't know what that voice is. I hear a voice in the room. I don't know who's talking.
Yeah, that's what I said. Just ignore it.
It's fine.
No, it doesn't. It's just fine. But before we get into the meaty topics of Pokemon Home, which I spent about 45 minutes just discussing with Janet before I got here, and Byleth and Smash, let's get over some quick news. First off, did you know Reggie Fils-Aimé prevented Nintendo from changing its logo to a graffiti-type logo, which sounds awful. And this was revealed on the Present Value podcast, and we got that news from there in an interview with him. And he said that Nintendo wanted to appeal to a different audience and pitched one styled as a graffiti.
I can see it. A lot of companies modernized their logos over the years, including ours.
Us. Yeah.
We had this weird kind of sideways logo that had the sci-fi compass thing, and we made it simpler. And there were a lot of logos presented to us from the agency that worked on our logo, and there were some that were horrible that some people liked.
Well, I mean, even the NVC logo, right? Like, I think Reggie came on in 2003. And at this time, Nintendo was kind of still in the middle of the GameCube era and in the doldrums of, N64 and GameCube. And the general conversation around Nintendo at the time was that it was for babies, right? And that it was for children. And Nintendo was very concerned, especially Nintendo of America, was concerned about aging up their demographic and making sure that they appealed to like a broader audience. And so, they wanted to age up the logo by making it more like age
classy, timeless,
yeah,
right?
It's weird.
N64 logo,
I guess,
primary colors, GameCube logo, purple, right? Like there you can gesundheit.
Oh, thank you.
You can make the argument that they weren't quite as cool, but I think, time's been on their side, on their side.
If they had a graffiti logo now,
it would be so outdated.
It would be super dated.
Yeah.
Even if it was cool, it'd be super dated.
On the social team, we kind of poked a little fun at the idea of like what a graffitied Nintendo logo would look like. So if you follow us on Instagram or Twitter, you've probably seen what our artist came up with. And it's very funny. It's like very swirly and like, there's like the Stussy S's around the SNES and, but you're absolutely right. Like, I think that it's one of those things that in the moment it would have been great, but if they still had that logo now, it would be like, oh, that's a very early 2000s look.
Yep.
Yeah, it's exactly what I thought.
I think the most important thing that I learned from this story was that the classic Nintendo logo, the logo that we all know and love and is still their logo, they internally call it the racetrack logo.
Oh,
Do you guys know that?
Yeah.
No.
Because
didn't know that.
Because of the
circle.
oval around it, they call it. They refer to it as the racetrack. Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Pretty cool.
Huh.
Kind of the same as like the baby track and Double Dash.
Yeah. Baby Park.
That's what it is. It's the one. The Baby Park. So also, I know we talk about mobile games occasionally and specifically about the revenue it's generated, but Sensor Tower released another report that Nintendo's mobile games have now officially generated more than $1 billion in lifetime revenue. And this is from Fire Emblem Heroes, Animal Crossing Pocket Camp, Dragalia Lost, Mario Kart Tour, Super Mario Run, and Dr. Mario World. Can you guys guess what is the highest performing? Don't look at my notes.
Yeah, I was gonna say Fire Emblem, right?
Yeah. By
a mile.
a lot. Fire Emblem alone has generated 61% of that
Jeez
revenue.
Louise.
Wow.
And it has been out for a lot longer. I mean, besides Mario Run, but like that's a whole lot. And to no one's surprise, Dr. Mario World is at the bottom with only generating 4.8 million compared to Fire Emblem's 656.
Actually, I felt that Dr. Mario World was not as pushy in getting you to spend. Like, I feel like you can play that game without spending a lot.
I guess I didn't expect it to be as so disparaging compared to Mario Kart Tour, for example.
Yeah.
It's like a huge gap between those two.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting the way that those games monetize as well, right? Because Super Mario Run was basically pay a one-time fee, get the game, get the expansions, etc. And then you've got Fire Emblem, which is like a pretty traditional gachapon style game, Dragalia Lost, same deal. But then you've got games like Animal Crossing Pocket Camp and Mario Kart Tour where it's it's just about putting as much money as you can to, make things happen faster or unlock different things. And so like, I think it's really interesting that there's this sort of broad spectrum of monetization and they don't follow just one monetization style. That being said, I spent a bunch of money on Animal Crossing when I was playing it.
no.
If you look at their games, it looks like a company starting in mobile and testing out different monetization models, right? Each
Yeah,
one
absolutely.
is slightly different. It's kind of cool to see that. But unfortunately, sometimes the one that makes the most money is not the model that we as a consumer like the best, obviously.
But also at the same time, like I'm curious because I don't know. I'm very like I don't know anything really about mobile monetization and nothing at all. No,
Let's hear more from Tom Marks, our expert.
I don't know
like
anything.
mobile monetization and like the process and the decision making that goes behind that. I don't know a ton about, but I am curious also just how much like quality of game actually matters here because of their list of 6. I think Dr. Mario World is also the weakest of these games. Like I liked it the least.
I don't know. I think it depends on how much you like Dr. Mario, right?
No, but like,
yes.
No one likes Doctor Zack.
Candy Crush was a similar style game and model and made bank, obviously, right?
Right.
So there is a difference in, how many people took to that game and liked the characters in this case. And like, it is kind of weird because Mario is such a universally loved character that game didn't have more mainstream success. So something didn't click.
They put Bowser in a lab coat. That's what didn't click.
Should have
This
been
is
candy
weird.
instead of pills. Nobody wants to play with pills.
Yeah, it's just very odd.
I mean, I think it's just an older IP. You know what I mean? Whereas,
But nobody else knows it.
well, that's what I'm saying. Is
yeah.
like old boys like you and me played Dr. Mario back on the NES, and like,
Watch yourself.
yeah, I mean, you're much older than I am, Pear, but like to mobile gamers who are predominantly teens, that's not as known as a Mario Kart or a Fire Emblem, even. So.
Yep.
And I wanted to sneak this in. Dragalia Lost is having a Monster Hunter crossover, and yes, I'm going to play it. Thank you for
Casey,
everyone.
are you okay?
Thank you for everyone who's tweeted at me. I have dozens and dozens of people being like, "Hey,
I like the mad
check
laugh.
this out." But no, I'm going to play it. There's also a Monster Hunter Stories mobile game coming out in Japan this year called Monster Hunter Riders, and yes, I'm going to play that too if it comes out here. But anyway, that's all we have about mobile games this week. And I also just wanted to quickly mention the results from our Pokemon face-off that I know Pear mentioned about 2 weeks ago, where we pitted all of the Pokemon not in Sword and Shield in a face-off where people would choose one over the other. It's like they would show you like a Dragonite and an Alakazam, and you would pick the one you wanted more. And based on those results, more than like 6,000, I think a lot more than that answers. We got our top 25 of each, and we have those published on IGN.com. But for brevity's sake, I'm just going to list the top 5 and the bottom 5. And from like I don't think this is a surprise, but people really like starters and dragons, and people really hate fish, bugs, and rodents.
Yeah.
Who would have thought? But our top 5 in order is Dragonite, Dragonair, Alakazam, Typhlosion, and Scyther. Scyther.
Oh.
Who's out there loving Scyther?
Scyther's really cool. Scyther's
That's
like,
a bug type.
yeah. Well, you're
Scyther's
right,
got OG
but
nostalgia from
Caesar,
the anime.
its evolution is a bug steel type. It's the only bug type that's anywhere near the top 25.
Next time we'll combine the evolutions.
We will, and it'll make it better.
A little bit clearer.
If we kind of did that for the top 10 listed in the article to kind of leave room for more, because otherwise it's just all the evolutionary lines of Dragonair and Alakazam and the starters.
Yep.
So
By the way, I think the bottom 5 is awesome.
it's a bunch of
It's the
fish.
worst Pokemon.
It's Love Disc. It's a pink heart fish. Brotsish, a colorful fish with really creepy teeth. Alomomola is another pink fish. People hate pink and people hate water type fish. Who would have thought? And then you got Wormadam, who's
I don't worm a damn.
Yeah.
It's
Got him.
I like that one.
The only thing
I like that one.
the only thing
him.
that could happen to you worse than Wormadam is what?
a fungus.
Fungus.
That's right, a fungus. Yeah, which is number 5.
Love Disc is probably my least favorite
Mine
Pokemon
too.
of all time, not only because I hate the design, but the last time I was in Tokyo, I was with Andrew Goldfarb, and he was obsessively looking, it was like a Love Disc event, and he was obsessively looking for Love Disc everywhere in Tokyo.
In Pokemon Go.
In Pokemon Go.
or
yeah.
the real world.
I mean, that kid, who knows with him these days. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like I said, if you're interested in the complete list, go and check out that article. I think it's pretty interesting. I mean, I had a lot of fun looking at it and putting that together.
I also had a lot of fun and wasted a lot of time just like sitting there clicking, left or right as to which Pokemon I liked. I think it's a really interesting, it's not really a tool, but it's a really interesting like metric,
Yeah.
We got to add some feedback where it says like 30% of people disagreed with you or something.
Yeah.
We'll add that.
And I want to get out ahead of this because I know Para's going to bring this up later. I did it on my own time at home. I wasn't doing it at work.
Well, that's a big change. That's good.
We're fighting.
You can feel the heat from here.
Yep.
Okay, so now speaking of Pokemon, we learned this week that Pokemon Home is coming out the beginning of February, and we learned a lot more, like pricing structure and kind of a little bit of how it works. There's still a lot of questions, but just to go down the basic rundown, there is a free version of Pokemon Home and also a premium version of Pokemon Home with different pricing options. Regardless if you get the basic or the paid one, you don't need Nintendo Switch Online in order to use it. Pokemon Go compatibility will not be available at launch, and you can freely trade your Pokemon from Pokemon Sword and Shield to Home and back, but that's not the case for Pokemon Bank, Let's Go, and Go. There are, I don't even know where to start. What do you guys want to know?
But so hold on. So I saw quite a few people were upset about the pricing, saying it's too expensive, right? Like in the grand scheme of things, what is it, $16 a year? You said,
Yeah,
$16 a year.
Yeah.
It's not a ton, right? Like it's $1 and change every month, but like it's more about the principle of what you're getting for that value, and it feels almost like this punitive payment for something. Like we already bought these games, we're already spending money on these games, and so now a function that lets you enjoy those games just a little bit more has this kind of, I don't know, it feels a little predatory pricing on top
And
of it.
I don't disagree with you. I think it is, I was expecting something around the Pokemon Bank price level, which is $5 a year.
Yeah.
And maybe up to 10 based on the extra features that come with it. But like $16 is kind of, I mean, it's not that much, but it's still kind of a lot when you're comparing it to Nintendo Switch Online
And
Pokemon
you have to consider that, like, if you're the Casey DeFridases and the Miranda Sanchez's of the world, like, you're already paying $60 for the game, $30 for both expansions, or $30 for each expansion.
$30 for both. $30
Okay.
pass comes
Plus
$5,000 for Pikachu plushes.
Right.
Yeah.
You got to budget that in.
Only
and then an
$100
additional
each.
an additional $16 a year for this service for Pokemon Home. So yeah, if you're a Pokemon fan, this is a not insignificant investment to really get everything out of the game. What's up?
Look at this.
Hey, Paris got some Pokemon Joy-Con over here. What is this? Oh, it's like a Pokemon. Oh no, that's the Dragon Quest Switch.
I mixed and matched. This is the Dragon Quest Switch, but the Pokemon, the Joy-Con are actually the Fragment Joy-Con from Tokyo. Fragment and Pokemon Company. You cannot see this, but there's a tiny lightning bolt here, and then there's a Pikachu silhouette here.
It's really cute and subtle, and I very much
case
appreciate it.
and the base has like Pokemon Store and Fragment branding.
Bring the
Is
whole
it just
thing
the
in.
the Joy-Con or?
No, it's a Joy-Con. The Switch has some text on it, but it's very laid back, just kind of dark gray with some silhouettes. And
How many Switches
He
do
bought
you
the
own
whole
now?
Switch because he needed the Joy-Con.
Well, this is one of the rarer Switches,
It
so
is.
I felt
That's a good
like I
pivot.
really needed it.
He really dodged the question on that one. What's the sum total? Huh?
I have 3 kids, so it makes sense that I have 6 Switches.
Two.
Okay.
Two.
You have 6?
That
All
makes
right.
sense. 50% of the way.
Yeah.
Well, there's the Switch Lite too. Remember?
Yeah.
So technically,
And so that,
Right.
that means he just has 2 extra. It's fine.
yeah.
Who doesn't have 2 extra
Don't
consoles of
remind me,
something?
but it's these are really cool.
Yeah.
I'm
they
still
are.
supremely jealous of that Dragon Quest Switch. I think that Switch is very cool.
So back to Pokemon Home and Pokemon Bank. Let's just really quickly run down the difference between the paid version and the free version, because there is a free version. One of the first things that made me upset about this is when I heard that it was going to be paid is that Pokemon, the global trading system, would only be available with paid. But that's not true. You can still use the GTS with regular Pokemon Home, which is great because it's a system that was included in games without any extra app needed in previous games. But anyway, if it's free, you can't transfer from Pokemon Bank unless you pay. So all of your Pokemon in Pokemon Bank will stay there. You can only... So this, I'm kind of unsure about this terms that they're using, but they're saying you can deposit 30 Pokemon. So does that mean you can deposit 30 Pokemon at a time? Does that mean
30 total deposits.
or 30 total deposits and then you
think
can't
you can
deposit
only hold
anything
30,
else?
right?
Or that's what I'm assuming.
There's
It'll
6,000 for the paid
hold
version.
30. So you
Honestly, I could see that word going either way,
Yeah.
right? It's really, that's one of those tricky things where it's a huge deal that we don't know that wording in my eyes, because if it's the bank can hold 30 or home can hold 30 at any given time, then that is fine. And this free service is actually still useful free.
Yeah.
And if it's 30 capped, that's really bad. Like that is suddenly you can only transfer 30 Pokemon and then suddenly you're blocked out of the main service of this thing.
Yeah.
And that's so like I think you're right. I think it probably is 30 total.
Yeah.
But until we get that wording, that's scary.
And just, I have asked for clarification for some of these questions from the Pokemon company. We'll see if we get it. But no, I assume it's from Pear's perspective. You can deposit 30 and then transfer some of them into Pokemon Sword and Shield and then put more in there. But maybe it is just deposit 30 Pokemon and then that's it. Like you can't deposit anymore even if you do take them out. I don't see that.
Well, is there a cap in the game to how many you can store in?
Some people have saying they're running out of boxes, but I don't know how. I thought you just get unlimited boxes in the game. But I could
I'm
be.
sure there's
I-
a cap.
I've never caught that many
Nothing
Pokemon
is
in my life.
endless.
Yeah,
It's
I could be.
So it
wrong.
sounds to me like if
But,
you're a casual player and you use the free version, it's mostly just an inconvenience. You'd have to transfer over 30 at a time and then
Yeah.
transfer them to the game and then like rinse and repeat. That's fine.
Right.
I think the biggest, and then actually, yeah, no, that's fine. I think the only problem you'd ever run into is if you're using Pokemon Let's Go, for example, and you deposit 30 Pokemon that can't be, then it'd still be not a problem. I'll get back to that in a second. But if you are a premium user, you can deposit up to 6,000 Pokemon, which is double Pokemon Bank's capacity. And I have another question. If you have the premium subscription and then deposit 5,000 Pokemon into Pokemon Home and then stop paying the subscription, what happens? No one,
There's
we
a
don't know.
Grace periods, just like with Nintendo Online.
So
and all
Pokemon
that.
Bank-
And after a while,
Yeah. But you still have the free service. So how does that work? Do you then like the next 30 Pokemon that you look at
they
are then
arbitrarily look at the Pokemon and they will only save 30, and all the love discs will be among those 30.
It's true.
And
That's
so
what happens.
in Pokemon Bank, if your subscription lapses and it's been more than 6 months or so, your Pokemon get deleted.
She really worries about this a lot.
Of course, no.
Does this make you nervous?
I opened my 3DS in a panic in December because I hadn't remembered going onto my 3DS in a year, and I was like, "Oh my god, my Pokemon!" And they're fine; they're still there. I hadn't lapsed, and I won't until February, so it's fine. But I still panicked for a little bit because with Pokemon Bank, you can't set up automatic recurring payments, even though it's only $5 a year.
Also, just a side
So-
note, if you have 5,000 Pokemon in your Pokemon home, that's not a home, that's a prison. That's not a happy place for those Pokemon.
It's a Pokemon commune.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Pokemon Home is also including the feature of basically a mass surprise trade. It's called Wonder Box, and with the free version, you can put 3 Pokemon for the surprise trade at a time, but with the premium version, you can do 10. So you can basically, instead of just doing one at a time on your Switch, you can even use your mobile phone or your Nintendo Switch and do mass surprise trades.
10 Wonder Trades at a time is hilarious
Yeah.
to me. Because it's just like at that point, you're putting Pokemon in as coins into a capsule machine. You're just like
It's so
shoving them
true.
in and having no idea what you're getting out.
Right.
You guys are going to get so many Nickets from me.
Pear,
boxes of 'em.
How do you say Wonderbox in German?
Wunderkiste.
Cool. Thank you. That's all.
The main thing coming out of all of this to me is we're kind of regardless of the value and the final details and all that stuff. This is a mess of a thing to
Yep.
understand and to try to comprehend.
Oh, it is. It really
as a
is.
person playing
I
this
mean,
game.
the game continues to get messier, like
But
in its
it's
post
not even that.
post-launch. Like
There's a free version and there's a paid version, and then the mobile version and the Switch version are two different things that have
Right.
different features.
So I can clarify that
Okay.
a little bit. So if you use your Nintendo account to purchase Pokemon Home, you will have Pokemon Home on both. So if you
Okay.
pay for one time, you'll have access to both.
So you're at least not subscribing to both, but there's certain things you can only do on mobile compared
Yes.
to that, and then
And
there's
vice
certain things
versa.
you can't do on either until post-launch, but we don't know when those are coming yet. And then maybe you'll be able to do them if you're paying or free, or I don't like. This is the thing to me is this is a mess of messaging, regardless of if it's a good deal or not. Like,
Yeah.
I just wish that they. Do you remember Nintendo Online Service? When Nintendo Online came out, Nintendo put out that really lovely animation with Bowser and Baby Bowser, and it broke down all the Nintendo Online stuff, and it was very, very cute, and it was very digestible. And I feel like they needed something like that for this. We can't. This is too much for just like a couple spreadsheets to me.
Yeah, it is. It's confusing, and you'll know that we will have videos breaking everything down that you need to know on IGN Wiki. So look out for that.
I shall ignore its existence and never speak of it.
gosh.
Exactly. I played the game and then I finished it, and now I never have to think about it again. So that's it. When
That's
Casey,
what we think.
when all the news came down about Pokemon Home, I said, "Great, this doesn't affect me in the slightest, not even a little bit." So,
Well, the thing I'm most mad about, because I got to be mad about something, is that
Casey soapbox.
if it's free, if you get the free version, it doesn't come with the judge function. You have to pay for that. So you can't just look at your Pokemon and know if their IVs are good or not unless you pay. And that is like,
Curse word.
how are you going to sort through all of your Mon if you're not paying because you can't see their stats?
Pear, how do you say soapbox in German?
Seifenkiste.
Thank you.
But
Thank you.
anyway, I do think it is a little pricey. Janet and I will come up with a way to game the system and come up with the most cost-effective way to manage your Pokemon.
Perfect.
And you will see that breakdown as a Pokemon Wikis product sometime in the future. So
There it is. Thank you very much, Casey and Janet.
look at that. Gosh, what? Oh, also, Pokemon Home will have a national Dex function. So it will connect to all of the games you've connected to it and be able to see which Pokemon you have and also all the Pokemon in your Pokemon Home.
Just not all of those.
So it'll work
go
as a
to
Dex.
Sword and Shield.
Yes.
Yet.
Yes, but it will work as like a living Dex.
Gotcha.
In one place.
Cool.
Yeah. And there's some other features and stuff that it's fine. We don't have to talk about it.
I mean, read the room, Casey.
I know. I understand. That's why I'm moving on. We can talk about Byleth now. Gosh. Let's talk about swords and axes and hammers and lances.
Bow and arrow.
Yeah. The bow.
Like Byleth.
I do
Okay.
too.
Have you had a chance to play Byleth?
Yeah.
Yeah. explain.
Oh yeah, we were talking about it this morning.
Yeah.
I think she is good. And canonically, in my mind, because I played Lady Byleth in Fire Emblem, I will only ever choose Lady Byleth in Smash.
Fair.
And Byleth in Smash kind of reminds me of like a slower Young Link. I feel like,
Okay.
yeah, like kind of obviously not the same moveset, but like a similar moveset in that like neutral B is an arrow, a dual stage arrow attack, which I really like it with Byleth that you can switch directions if you move fast enough. So like if you're aiming left, when you pull back, if you can flip your stick in the opposite direction before you reach the second stage of charge, she'll turn around and shoot the opposite way, which is really cool. I think that her up B, which is similar to Joker, it's like a diagonal chain.
Yeah.
Allows for some really cool like air combos and air punishment, which is really neat.
Chain grab is cool too. Yeah.
I think that maybe as like a little OP in that.
Careful.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Obviously, I'm very new to like Smash
here's my
competitively, but like, yeah, I think that she's, she can kill confirm with down B. It is a very slow attack, but if you manage to pull it off, you can kill confirm at like 60%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There, last night when I was playing, I was fighting Pokemon Trainer up against a Squirtle, 0%. I broke his shield. I think it was almost a full shield. Like I maybe had hit it like one or two times. Hit it with the shield with the side B, which is Failnaugh's arrow. Broke the shield. Went up, used down B, killed Squirtle. 2 hits. 2 hits.
Yeah.
That's it.
Deserves it.
No damage.
Were you playing online or were you playing?
I was playing with my partner.
Okay. Yeah.
So the funny thing about stuff like that and moves like that, though, is we have Brendan Graber, our very own, is doing the review for Byleth. And he likes Byleth as well, but he said something kind of very poignant in his review, where he basically was like, it's those sort of down B, which is this long charge for this insane hit, and the same with the arrow, which is this long charge that you can cut halfway, but if you charge it the whole way, it's a really big charge for an insane hit, are really, really exciting and easy to just like get into and love, right? But also they're the types of moves that the competitive community is just never going to care about ever.
Right, because you
that
won't
down
ever
B-
have the time to charge that.
Well,
too
it's not just the
fast.
time. It's that like any any person who is a pro level player of this game will see you press down B and just walk away from you and not worry.
Yeah.
But so that's the thing. Like,
And that's cool that moves like that can exist,
Yeah.
where it's like it really does appeal to one type of audience where it's like, yeah, that's super powerful, and then it just doesn't.
It's
kinda
great
do
for a
another.
busy board where like 4 players
Yes.
are fighting
Yeah,
each
exactly.
other.
Or
and, like,
doubles.
especially maybe somebody who's new to Smash will have a lot of success with Byleth.
Right.
You know, I felt almost like about Marth. Like you pick when you play Marth for the first time. There's like it feels like you understand this character is very simple, clear setup, and as a new player, you can have a lot of success with Marth. And I feel like Byleth is very similar to that, just with a little bit more range and some more showy kind of big charge of attacks. I like playing with the character. Byleth isn't as exciting as some of the other DLC characters that they added because they have all these kind of like sub menus and tricks and things they can do.
by the time this
different
episode
movements.
is posted, Brandon's review will be up. Right?
Yep.
Yeah. And so he's giving Byleth a 7.
Yes.
And he says that the
Or good.
character is good, but it lacks the sort of compelling flash of some of the other characters. Like there's not the MP charging and juggling of Hero. It's not the like hardcore fighting mechanics of Terry Bogard. It's just like this is just a kind of bread and butter Smash character,
Yep.
like in the same way that those initial run characters were, right?
Well, it's not, and it's kind of funny because if you look at the 4 other characters in this DLC fighter pack, 2 of them are very mechanically like technical, right? They've got a lot to them, Joker and Terry,
Right.
And then, or I'm sorry, Hero and Terry, and then the other 2 are total fan service bombs, right? Joker is absolutely unexpected and exciting, and Banjo has been asked for decades, and this character is not bad by any means. It's just neither of those categories, right? And he actually said, you know, if 3 Houses had come out a year earlier, probably Byleth just would have been a base character,
Right.
And that would have been fine. And that's sort of the way they feel, right? Byleth is just like, this is a really fun, solid character, but it's nothing sort of amazing and impressive.
The base skill is learning what range to do which attacks. Like I think it was Lance that you need to get the tip to get the most out of it. And I think there's are some other moves that if you angle slightly up do more damage, and it's like some like nuance, but isn't something that will drastically change.
Oh yeah, well I definitely don't mean to say that there's no mechanical skill involved in the character, because that's absolutely not true. It's
not true
just
with any character.
Yeah, it's not true with any character. It's just that it's less complicated.
Yes.
Like Per said,
Yeah.
you pick
It's
it
less
up
complicated.
and you just know what you're doing.
Yeah,
in a very cool way.
We used the character maybe like in 2 battles against each other, and then switched off with our mains, and they were incredibly close. And that doesn't happen with new characters.
Yeah.
Usually, you use your main against someone who's using a new character for their first time, you destroy them.
Right.
And with Byleth, like it was still
Pretty close.
they're really close battles,
Yeah.
just, like regardless.
Yeah, the way that I've been like warming up before I'll jump online lately is I'll do 3 matches at like against a CPU of 8, and then 3 matches against a CPU at 9, and I have to win 3 in a row of each of those categories before I move into like, okay, now I feel like I'm ready to play online. And took Byleth on at 8 and was like, oh, okay, and then like immediately lost in the first match against like a 9 CPU Byleth, and was like, better start paying attention here.
The other part of this kind of coin with these DLC releases, the music they added is really, really great.
Yeah.
Really nice music pack. The spirit fights are really cool, although Brendan pointed out that if you have not played 3 Houses, do not do the high-level spirit fights because they are full of spoilers.
Oh, really? That's interesting.
Yeah.
That's good to know.
Obscure spoilers, but spoilers.
Right.
Sure. The other part of this, though, is like I'm not super impressed with the level.
The stage sucks.
It's
stage
like
boring,
it's exactly like Byleth, right? It's like it's cool, it's fine, but it's not really exciting in any way. It's just sort of simple.
But I kind of feel that way about, like, I feel very 50-50 about all Smash stages. I either like really love a Smash stage, or I'm like, oh, I never want to play on this stage. And this is one that I'm like, there's just nothing there. It doesn't really do anything except like transition to another part of the school. There's no interactivity. Like there's not like,
And
you know,
Heroes level was similar, right? That sort of flying platform level, but it's a flying platform level, but without the cool cinematic flying shots where you see all the terrain as it's going. Like Delfino Island has that same one.
or like the Banjo level where it's like moving around a platforming level. And like,
Or the Banjo one actually twists.
Yeah,
That's like
that's what I'm
even
saying.
weirder.
Yeah.
And like, so it's just sort of, I think that's like 7. A lot of people are going to read 7 as a score for this and be like, oh, it's terrible. You're saying it's terrible. And it's like, no, it's just like, it's a good DLC.
it's endemic of
7
all
is dead.
reviews ever.
It's a good DLC pack. It's nothing really blow your mind, but honestly, the expectations were set sky high because the last 4 have been very, very impressive.
I think out of all of the DLC characters, Byleth is probably the one that I'm most inclined to play because it is a very like bread and butter character. I know I've said that a couple times, but like it is a very like basic character, and like for my skill set, that's where I want to play. Like that's where I feel most comfortable. And I love Persona 5 and I would like to be great as Joker, but I'm terrible with him. And Hero is just like too complicated for me. And so like, yeah, if it was like only characters from the expansion pass, I'd pick Byleth every time.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
I picked Piranha Plant, but
Piranha Plant is also very good. But I don't like his little like spike ball up. That sucks.
no, you kill people so easy with that.
I know, that's why it sucks.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Like it against himself.
Yeah.
All right. So now, besides Byleth, there are some full games out this week. Byleth is not a full game; it's just a character. But first up, we have Thronebreaker: The Witcher Tales, which is basically a Gwent game.
Totally
This one
surprised.
snuck up on me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're just saying the same thing.
Yeah, it was like this was kind of a nice little bonus from CD Projekt Red, where they were like
CD
Projekt Red. Yeah, I just saw it on one of their PR guys' Twitter. He was just like, "Oh, here it is." I was like, "Whoa, what?"
Popped out. I installed it, started it, but have not played enough to see how the Switch version holds up to the original.
Sure,
You've played a little bit more,
I've
right?
played a little bit more than that. The Switch port seems fine. I haven't noticed. I'm still early on too, but I haven't noticed any sort of frame rate issues or graphical issues or anything, bugs or anything like that. I think Thronebreaker definitely plays worse on a controller than a mouse and keyboard, but that's not any different than its PlayStation or Xbox versions. What?
Nothing.
I mean, I'm not hating on controllers. I
You
like
think
controllers.
Casey's gonna obsess over this one?
Or
Not in the same way that she
not the
obsesses
same
over
card
Slay the
game.
Spire.
No,
it's so different than Slay the Spire. Like, this is the thing, though, that Thronebreaker came out in 2018 and flew under a lot of people's radars because it's a Gwent game, right? Like, that's how it started. Was
really good, though.
Right. It started as the Gwent single-player mode, and then it totally transformed into its own thing. The thing you got to know about Thronebreaker: The Witcher Tales is it is a world-class RPG.
Yeah.
It is one of the best RPGs to come out in 2018. It is, some people argue, and I'm not going to have a dog in this race, but some people argue that it actually has a better story than The Witcher 3's main campaign. The writing in this game is incredible. And if you're an RPG fan, and especially if you're a Witcher fan, it's one to just, like, you really should play it.
So what if you're both of those things but hate Gwent so much?
I mean, it's a tough thing. Like, I think
Like every time that I was playing The Witcher and they're like, "Oh, let's have a game of Gwent," I was like, "No, I'm good."
I've
Well,
never
this is
heard
one
someone
thing.
say they hate Gwent
hate Gwent.
before.
Yeah.
Well, here's one thing. This Gwent is very different from the Gwent you know in the card.
different?
Very different. Very different. Yeah. Than The Witcher 3's one. The Witcher 3 had like 3 lanes and you never draw extra cards. This one has 2 lanes. You draw extra cards. All the cards are much more interactive with each other.
Okay.
It's a lot different and a lot more fun. To be
I'm very interested in that in this game after hearing that.
Yeah.
Because like I didn't follow it in 2018 because they're like a brand new Witcher RPG. I was like, hell yeah. And then like starring Gwent. And I was like, nope, I'm good.
It's not just Gwent. And a lot of the times it's not framed as you're playing Gwent. It'll be like you get attacked by bandits and then the fight plays out as a Gwent game. Or there might be a thing where it's like you're fighting an ogre and the ogre is throwing rocks at you and you have to, so the rocks will move down the lanes and you have to like take out the rocks as units before they hit your back line.
So are you playing as Geralt? Are you like running around?
No, you play as Meve, Queen Meve.
Okay.
Who's Queen of Lyria and Rivia, and she's a character from the books.
The books, yeah.
And Geralt's in it, and I think you do take over as him for a bit, if I remember correctly.
The White Wolf?
But it's not really a Geralt story. It's really Queen Meve, who is just a phenomenal character, phenomenally voice acted, really cool design.
What about Dandelion?
I don't remember if Dandelion is in it.
But so enthusiastic thumbs up. You would toss a card to The Witcher.
Yeah, I would definitely do that. It's really like this is
good.
the question about the cards thing is really tricky because
Autumn Marks of Plenty.
I would recommend this game.
Bow ties of plenty.
Oh, bow ties of plenty.
How do you say Gwent in German?
Gwent.
Got it.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
I would recommend this game to pretty much everybody, but it's tricky if you're really vehemently against card games. It might just not be for you.
I'm not vehemently against card games. I really had a good time with SteamWorld Quest last year.
Right.
I liked. You remember Bait and Kaidos back on GameCube? Like there are some card-based RPGs that I like. I just disliked Gwent so much in the base game that a whole game centered around it was like not appealing to me.
Also, so optional though.
Oh, totally. Well, there's a couple of times.
Right?
There's a couple times in each the main story and both
right.
expansions where you have to play a game of Gwent, and it's like, ugh.
It's way like even if you hate card games and you still don't like this one, that's totally fine. But this is way better than Witcher 3 Gwent.
Okay.
Like, fundamentally, that is fact.
Yeah. I remember there was a period after The Witcher came out where like the collector's edition of The Witcher came with like an actual Gwent deck, and there was a period here where people were like playing it in the office, like actual Gwent. And I just was like, why are you wasting your time doing this?
Gosh.
So our original review of this was by TJ Haffer. He gave it a 9.4 back in 2018.
Dang.
Really liked it. And TJ knows his RPGs. The last thing I'll say on this though, 40-hour Witcher RPG for $20. This game is $20
not a bad deal.
Oh.
40 hours.
Wow.
Pretty solid.
It's a value proposition, definitely.
All right, Tom, Slay the Spire or Thronebreaker?
Don't
in
make
what
me choose.
context?
Yeah.
Which one? You have to pick one.
Which one you like
Desert
better?
Island game. You can only bring one.
Oh, then Slay the Spire.
Okay.
Because it's infinite.
Okay.
Okay.
That's a good answer.
She would have kicked you off
I
the
totally
show
was
otherwise.
no. I haven't played Thronebreaker yet, so I'll have to get into it and see.
What else you got?
It's very fun.
We also got Kentucky Route Zero, which Tom
I
reviewed.
did. I reviewed it. I gave it an 8. It's a adventure-y game going through Kentucky on a magical highway. It's very strange and fun.
This really seems like a Zach Ryan game. Like I'm really into like magical realism. I think that like everything that I've heard about it is very interesting to me. You play a delivery driver who gets tasked to take like some artifacts to somewhere, right? Isn't that the deal? Like
he works at an antique store. He's a delivery driver in an
Is it
antique
like
store.
Repo Man?
well, yeah, except then it kind of goes off on this like cosmic detour and you run into all these different sorts of characters
Repo
and
Man.
stuff. And like, yeah, you're not wrong. I really meant to play this game before the show this week. Like I wanted to get a couple chapters in, but then I only played Smash. So yeah.
But also thumbs up.
Yeah, thumbs up.
Great out of 10.
Yeah, no, I think it's a great game. It's very pretty. It's certainly kind of a visual novel masquerading as a point-and-click adventure game.
That's cool.
It doesn't really have puzzles per se.
Okay.
But it's got some really, really wonderfully written dialogue and a lot of choice in kind of how you navigate the conversations in it, and really lovely visuals.
Yeah, I was gonna say I heard it's like pretty visually stunning.
It's very, very nice to look at. And I played through the entire thing on Switch for my review, so I can, except for one fatal crash that they patched before the game came out, so you don't have to worry about that. It was perfectly fine otherwise.
Long time coming. This game, the conclusion, right?
Yeah.
This game has been in the works for 7 years. Is
I think
that right?
it's been in the works for 9,
Right.
but Act 1 and 2 came out in 2013.
Yeah,
Nice.
super cool. Yeah, I'm excited to play this. I'm gonna put it on my list if I can turn myself away from Smash.
Next, we have Aviary Attorney Definitive Edition.
Made up, does not exist.
It's a very silly one.
It's about a bird
law.
attorneys?
Yeah, this is a visual novel that came out on Steam, and to much praise, that's all very classy birds dressed in like
I remember this.
tiny bird
They have
outfits.
like powdered wigs and
Yeah,
stuff, right?
and it's a visual novel. It's like if you're into Phoenix Wright, it's that, but silly.
That's cool.
Both
I
of
love
these
it.
games,
Yeah.
Speaking Simulator too. We're getting
Speaking
some
Simulator
really
is also
strange
a-
stuff.
Speaking
now.
Simulator, I've seen Let's Plays of that are it's absolutely bonkers. Like
It's like a weird goat simulator.
Yeah, what
kind
a
of
weird
half-broken
game. Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
What
So-
are these cats doing with these birds, Tom?
I don't know. You got to find out. Maybe
art
you're
is so
suing.
cool.
Maybe you're suing the cats.
I love that art.
Yeah. It's a
really
very
cute.
silly game, but if you're into visual novels, it's one to at least check.
Is there a harpy eagle?
It looks like Albrecht Dürer, like
I'll have to
old
play.
medieval art.
Yeah.
Cool. We also have
Albrecht Dürer.
I've seen a lot of videos about this game. Speaking Simulator.
Yeah.
Out on the 30th for $20.
This is a
it
goofy game.
is it fun? How about
That's a great
Surgeon
question.
Simulator? Compare it.
I haven't played Speaking
I need
Simulator.
to play it.
Me neither.
I
Because
Because
have
it looks
to
like
play
Brian
it.
did, I
Nightmare
think.
Fuel.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's who's doing Let's Plays. Like the Let's Plays. Essentially, you have like all these different mouth shapes and tones that you can make, and you have to like speak
Yeah.
certain things, right?
You're a
like
robot
yeah.
trying to pretend to be a human, and so you have like buttons on the inside of your mouth, and you have to like say a sentence by moving the physicsy tongue to press the buttons in the right way.
It's like Octodad in Surgeon Simulator, like kind of exaggerated physics and then making it hard to do something super simple. That's the whole joke, right?
Pretty much.
It can be really fun. It's great to watch. If you watch the Let's Play that I think Max and Brian did, it's pretty good.
Yep.
And we also have Skullboy coming out this week on the 30th for $20. I think Brian was talking about it last week as well. What do you think?
This is the game from the developers of Slimeson, right?
Publishers.
Publisher, yeah. So it's a tiny little German team that's making this game. Skullboy in German.
Cool.
Wunderkiste. But yeah, it's like I heard you guys describe it. I listened to NVC in the car into work this morning, and you were describing it like the kind of Paper Zelda thing. Like it is more linear than a Zelda game, but it has that kind of like almost isometric style where you see pixel art at an angle. It's really charming. It's like, the ability to kind of slay an enemy and like take body parts and make them your own. And they have like different powers or different defense levels. It's very cute. The pre-release version had some performance issues, and they already made a patch, so I have to try it out again. It was running a little chuggy in some of the areas. And it's a very simple-looking game, so not sure why it was chuggy, but I saw a video that showed that it's been smoothed out and sped up, so I'm gonna give it a shot. It's pretty cute. The music is great too. It's got this really cool retro soundtrack, and it's very enjoyable so far.
Cool.
And Ash of God's Redemption out on the 31st for $25.
The video game
For $30.
named video game.
Yeah.
Ash of God's
Redemption.
I haven't played this one myself, but I wanted to give it a quick shout out because to kind of throw a little shade at it, it kind of looks like somebody went, hey, somebody made a game called The Banner Saga. Let's just make that. Like it just looks exactly like the Banner Saga, but it has fairly good reviews on Steam. It's the combat is grid-based tactics, and I know there are a lot of grid-based tactics fans out there who probably would see the key art for this game and not know that it is that. So yeah, Ash of God's Redemption is at least one to look into.
Okay. You had me at grid-based tactics. By the way, the tactics hate on the last episode of NVC, I really have to apologize to our listeners about that.
Who did that?
I'm never going to leave you guys alone.
I know.
Who said
You guys
I
made
like
fun of
tactics
soccer
games.
and tactics? Scoff.
We weren't making fun of that.
I was making fun of that.
Brian ranked tactics as his least favorite thing in the world. I think.
Okay, well, Brian, I mean, there's a reason he's not here this week, right?
Oh, I
Don't make
remember
fun of
Brian.
tactics.
Who's Brian?
Oh, what?
Yep.
So is this what we say to death, Tom? Not tonight.
Not tonight.
Not tonight. Take
Close
Back
enough.
Control Edition on the 31st for $25.
I'm playing that right now.
Oh.
It's a kind of a Papers, Please, very politically loaded adventure game.
How did you describe it to me this morning?
What did I say?
Brexit, the video game.
Brexit has failed, and kind of a right-wing faction has taken over the UK, and they're very much they don't like foreigners.
Uh-huh.
And
This is just to be super clear. This is the plot of the game he's describing.
Yeah.
Right.
Like it is explicitly couched in Brexit and the events.
Oh, do we
going
have
on
to do the
around
Orson Welles thing? Folks, this is not an actual news announcement. Do not get freaked out. And so it's kind of like a pixel art side-scrolling game where you live in this miserable apartment, and like you get when people talk to you, they do not like that you're a foreigner. And then your job basically becomes being a bouncer at a club, and you have to check people's IDs. And like they start you off simple, where you go like, well, make sure that you don't let anybody in with who's under 18, right? The legal drinking age there. Mm-hmm. And then it gets more complicated. Like make sure that none of the IDs are expired. And like it kind of builds on that, and then it tells a story around that. So it's kind of like a sorting hat game
That
in
sounds
a way.
kind of fun for some reason.
It's very clever. If you're the kind of person who says keep politics out of my video game, this is making a statement about xenophobia, and maybe you could learn something from it. Like give it a shot. It's not saying that you're a bad guy who's saying this sort of stuff, but I find like it's a smartly written game that has a point, and a point that I think everybody would agree with. Be nice to foreigners.
Yeah.
Right? Wunderkiste.
Yeah. I was going to say, you're my favorite.
That's right. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I like you now. Like at the beginning of the show,
we were fighting earlier, but now we're friends
I
again.
think we're good again.
Yeah.
So I feel like we've learned something from this game.
This is also a game that came out on Steam, I think, a year ago, and
Yeah.
to positive reviews and is well liked there as well.
Yeah, so it's a simple game. It's smart. It's cool. I'm gonna keep on playing and see like how it develops. I'm not sure if it's gonna end well.
Let us know. Or
Yes.
not. That's a spoiler. Just
Yeah.
kidding. But what are you guys playing this week?
Keep that to yourself, Pear.
That is my name.
Not to be trusted. I'm playing Smash. I'm playing Smash, and I'm playing Dragon Quest XI-S, and you can just get ready, because those are going to be the two games that I bring up on this show every week until Animal Crossing comes out, because those are the only two games that I'm interested in right now.
Fine.
I'm about 30 hours into Dragon Quest, so I know that I still have probably close to 50 hours to go, really taking my time. And then after my declaration last week about Smash, I've been talking to some like pro level players here in the office. I've been trying to play a lot more at home. I'm thinking about writing like a year-long piece about like.
You're gonna write something for 1 year.
Well, I'm gonna come back to it and update it throughout the course of the year. 'Cause, I wanted
see.
like
Okay. I was a little worried.
eventually I want to try to get good. I want to try to get good at
Okay.
it and like maybe enter a tournament or something. And so yeah, I'm really going for the gusto.
Diary
on
of a Smash noob.
Yeah,
That's pretty cool.
that's a pretty good one. I might pocket that headline.
Do it.
Yeah.
I went back to Smash because of Byleth
Hey,
and playing,
yeah.
but I am quickly sidetracked by all the other wonderful games that are coming out. So, obviously started Not Tonight, Take Back Control Edition, playing Tokyo Mirage Sessions. I feel like you guys talked about it at length. I'm liking it a lot more than I thought I would like. Tom and I talked a little bit off camera about that. It reminds me a lot of Persona. It is a very fan service game in its full Japaneseness, but the music, the characters, the battle system is super fun. The session system is really cool, and just the amount of screaming in Japanese is just delightful. Like every battle is like "Sorike, watashi wa tatakao." It's like, "Oh, I'm gonna attack," and then like everybody's like screaming, and like it feels really good when you take down enemies. It's just a joy to
It's
play.
a great battle system for sure.
Yeah, it's really cool. And then I'm playing 1980X. So
Is that the Mega Man randomly generated guy?
absolutely not. It's a
You're thinking
homage.
20XX.
Oh, I am
It's
thinking
an
20, right.
homage to the arcades of the 1980s. It's like it is, again, pixel art, but really beautifully drawn, and kind of like this cyberpunk setup. It looks like if you made a 16-bit art Blade Runner game, that's what it looks like a lot of
Cool.
neon 80s, but it wraps a story that basically always leads you to an arcade. It's narrated, very beautifully told. It's about a 2-hour game, so it's a short experience for for what you're paying for, but it's really cool. So you inevitably end up in an arcade and you play a game, and each game is a take on an iconic game of the past.
Okay,
So
that's cool.
Like you start with a level that's
So talking like I was gonna say Final Fight, yeah.
it goes like it does Final Fight, it does R-Type, it does Outrun, and then it gets a little bit more original in the later games and kind of like ties back into the cyberpunk storyline. And each game is really beautifully realized. So they don't
Damn,
feel
that
like
sounds
modern
awesome.
games. It really feels like classic Final Fight where, you're punching somebody and then you're grabbing the stick and you're hitting them with the stick, and that kind of like very simple one-button pickup system. That's all in there. It's really, really well made. It's really charming.
You kind of
really
sold
cool.
that.
And
Yeah, I know.
if you're a fan of classic music, the composer is the man who made the music for ActRaiser, and
Sweet.
so like it really is an homage of to the 80s.
That's really cool. I want to play that. But I won't because I'm only playing Smash and Dragon Quest.
I want to
Yep.
play that as well. What about
Zach,
you,
you
Tom?
said you dreamt about playing a game, right?
Oh, also, yeah, I'm gonna play Kentucky Route Zero. Yes, I told Tom this morning that I had a dream last night that somebody from Nintendo was like, "Hey, thanks so much for your help with this thing." I don't remember what it was. Like, "Hey, here's a copy of Animal Crossing early, like right now, early, like 2 months early." And I brought it in, and I was like, "Hey, check it out, Tom! I got Animal Crossing on the Switch." And it like damn near started a riot in the office. You were like, "Oh, we need that for wikis. Oh, we need that for Let's Plays." And like I was the only person that had it. Yeah, and I was like, "My village." Yeah.
Tom took it and went.
That is like totally something that would happen.
That's a dream, but genuinely, if you just got a code in January for Animal Crossing,
That's 100% what would happen.
Exactly.
Yeah,
It would have shut down the building.
yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
That was cruel, dream machine of Zach
Yeah.
in your head.
Isn't that nice?
Yeah, I feel bad for you now.
That's okay.
I'm sorry.
I'm all right. I did okay.
I promise if I wouldn't yell at you about wikis.
Thank you,
I would let
Casey.
someone else do it.
You're one of the good ones. Yeah, it would definitely be Miranda or Sam. Sam. Yeah.
What are you guys playing?
Kind of a bunch of stuff we've already talked about. Tokyo Mirage Sessions still. I will say I won't dwell on it, but I will say I'm souring on it a teeny bit just because it moves so slow. I still love the combat and all the weird characters.
I know you don't like the jumping out of the dungeons to go and upgrade, but can't you just ignore it and keep going?
Yeah, but that's not what I want to do.
You just gotta relax. You
Yeah,
can
I know.
upgrade your stuff later.
But we talked about that already. Like I said, Kentucky Route Zero. I'm still jumping into Slay the Spire here and there. I went back and I'm still playing, or I started Thronebreaker, but now I'm also going back to Final Fantasy VII finally on
nice.
Switch. Because I kind of...
Ready for the remake, huh?
Yeah, getting ready for the remake. I already got through Midgar, so I technically have already played everything that was supposed to be in the remake, but I'm going past it now.
What's your impression? Because I had a hard time going. I remember going from Final Fantasy VI, which I absolutely adore, to Final Fantasy VII, and I was so disappointed when I played it when it first came out.
Yeah.
Because we went from this like really smart grid-based 16-bit system to these kind of worlds that felt like you couldn't interact with them, and it felt like your characters were like pasted onto them. Like I came around, I grew to like the
You're talking
games.
about like the 3D characters against a pre-rendered.
Yeah. Like I really had a hard time because I loved 4, 5, and 6 so much when going to 7. But is that something that sticks out nowadays, or are you just so used to kind of like top-down games like that it feels normal?
It sticks out a little bit.
I haven't gone back since it came out.
The funny thing in that regard is that there are certain items that are very clearly pick-upable or interactable, and then there are certain things that don't look interactable at all, but are.
Yeah. It's like some of the stuff that's rendered in 3D is like so clearly like boing. Like you're like, what?
That's on modern TV screens too, right? Like everything was a little bit more fuzzy back on.
That's a little weird. I definitely have had to use our wiki guide to get through parts of it because it's just kind of obtuse at points. The thing about the pre-rendered backgrounds, though, is and the character models and all that sort of thing, part of that doesn't hold up because it looks very dated, but other parts of it I find myself still impressed by. Like whenever there's a shot of the little model cloud that you've been walking around on a pre-rendered background, and then suddenly a cutscene triggers where the camera just zooms into that shot and the pre-rendered background changes perspective in real time. That's really cool still. And like you look at that and you're like, whoa, like modern games kind of don't, like that's not as impressive in modern games as it was in this.
If you think that's impressive, you should check out Final Fantasy VIII. Because they do that a lot in that game. Yeah.
Or...
Yeah,
or
so
9. Yeah,
I've been enjoying it still. I've been very pleased with how much 7 still
great
holds
soundtrack.
up.
I think
music is amazing.
I think those re-releases, 7, 8, 9, and 12, are the most playable that they've been in a decade or more on the Switch. Because
10?
I don't like 10.
I like 10
I don't like 10.
I like 10.
Some people's favorites.
It's a lot of people's favorites. It's a lot of people's first Final Fantasy. But 10 and 10-2, I guess. All those games on Switch have these upgrades that allow you to move through the world faster.
Yeah.
12 has all the stuff from Zodiac Age. Like there are improvements, quality of life things, little fixes or changes that make those games so much more playable in 2020 or 2019 when they came out. And I'm really stoked because like you're playing it, Terry's playing it, Matt Kim is playing it. Like a bunch of people in our office are getting to experience these games for the first time because they're playing it at like 1.5 speed and can get through stuff faster. And
well, Final Fantasy VII lets you go at 3 times speed.
That's ridiculous.
The ladders in Final Fantasy VII are so slow that at 3 times speed, they still take too long to move up. You're on them in 3 times. Like, did I hit? Is it going that quick? Like, it's just insane.
It's just trying to be realistic, Tom. I mean, how slow do you go up real ladders in real life?
Ladder safety is a very important issue.
Yeah, you gotta go slow. Make sure you're putting
It's the opposite of Sonic.
Gotta go slow up those ladders.
Pear, we gotta cut out.
Yeah, we gotta run in a second.
That's fine. We can do question block without you.
Yeah?
I don't want to,
2-person
though.
question block.
We'll just guess it.
Don't answer a question about F-Zero.
Don't.
Skip that one.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll save it.
Answer, like
I'll save it.
Yeah.
If Pear gets to call
I'll
F-Zero,
save-
don't answer
Your
it.
guess
save-
at the Earthbound 64
Do you want
was
to
hilarious.
answer the F-Zero question real quick?
No, because I haven't thought about it.
Okay, we'll save your F-Zero question for next
If Pear
week
gets
then.
to say, don't answer the F-Zero question, don't answer any questions about Mario or Zelda or Metroid.
Sounds
For
good.
me.
Whoa.
Good rules.
This is a Nintendo podcast.
Also, no questions about wizards. Do not answer questions.
No
about
questions.
Wizards.
Well, we have
totally off.
no
We gotta
questions
go.
left on this
We gotta go.
entire.
Just agree and they'll leave and they won't know.
I'll agree to everything but the wizards.
But you guys are in good hands with my
The
two
wizards.
favorite people, and they can answer all your questions.
Yeah.
Oh, man. See you
Get,
later.
get the thing. We love you. Goodbye.
Just out the door shade at Zach.
nice to
as he's
foreigners.
going. Yeah.
Especially Germans.
All right, well, it's time for Tom and Casey's question block section.
Yeah.
Ding! That's my sound effect. No one else gets sound effects, just us.
Okay.
All right,
I like that.
we'll start.
What do we got?
There are a lot of questions. Do you have one that stood out to you that you
No, please,
specifically
jump
want to
in.
answer? All right, well, I have one that I do want to answer, and I wish we had Brian here for this because I think it'd be fun. But where'd it go? Where'd it go? Here we go. This one is from Connor McNamara, and he says, a wizard comes to you
Good start.
and offers to give you a real live Pokemon of your choice, but you also must eat one to make this happen. Who do you bring to life as your companion, and who do you eat?
This is the one that I was dreading you asking.
What? Come on, this is a fun question.
Oh, man.
We gotta get a Pokemon friend, and we gotta eat a Pokemon.
I know the eat easily.
Yeah.
Because it's the ice cream cone guy.
Castelia cone?
Whatever the smallest one is. I don't want to like.
Oh, the tiny
fill
one?
up, you know,
think it's-
because then you have to leave a Pokemon half eaten.
cone is an ice cream cone item in Pokemon.
Excuse me?
Yeah, there's a Castelia cone that is a medicine. It's not the actual
No, yeah,
Pokemon.
there's-
Vanillite is
Vanillite, yes,
is
thank
the
you.
Pokemon.
I'd eat Vanillite, but I am really horrified by the idea of that fundamentally. And honestly, there's too many to pick from for Pokemon to
So I'd eat Alchemy because
Ditto.
it's meant to be eaten, right? Like it
Yeah.
makes so.
Okay.
Would I be eating the food product that is meant to be eaten, or would I have to eat the entire Pokemon?
No, it would be shrieking and yelling out its little name while you're doing it. I mean, I guess you could knock it out first.
Guess I mean, you can roast a Farfetch'd.
Wow, that got dark. I thought you were gonna. Yeah.
Do you eat? You don't. You don't eat duck.
No, I'm a vegetarian.
Tom's a vegetarian.
That's why I went for ice cream.
Ice cream.
I guess the most harmless thing you could do is dissolve Milcery into some coffee or something.
Oh,
and then you
yeah,
don't
there we
have to,
go.
hear it scream its name
Or would
as you
it
consume it.
Anyway. But when you're bringing a Pokemon to life, so I need to ask, I have some questions. I need some clarification. So you're bringing this Pokemon to life of our choice, but is this just our world doesn't exist? I then get a Pokemon friend because you know what would happen?
The rules, yeah.
The government would come and take my Pokemon away and do terrible experiments on it.
Not if you got a boring one like Ducklet. No one would notice.
No one, why?
Just have a
No
duck.
one wants a Ducklet.
Yeah, it's true. I would do Ditto because they could hide in plain sight.
You're right. Ditto would be the best option.
Yeah.
There was an episode about Team Rocket wanting to get a Ditto because then they could transform it into a Dratini, and they're showing this Ditto a picture of Dratini in a book, and Ditto's like, "Yeah, I got this," and then transformed into a book.
Or you could also do Joltek because it's tiny and could just keep your phone charged all the time.
That would be cute.
There you go. There's some terrible
It might
answers.
shock you to death too.
I hope it's my buddy. Anyway,
Let's see. Well, I would
I
get
did like the top one actually, the Mii
yeah?
Fighter one.
Okay, let's go. Well,
Yeah.
I'd get Arceus because Arceus is God. So
Oh,
no, wait, Mew because Mew is a better Ditto. Mew is a better Ditto. There we go.
All right, that's cheating, but okay.
Yeah. Shh, it's not cheating. It's just a mythical Pokemon. This one is from Jason Pilcher, and he asks, what Mii Fighter costume would you guys like to see get the Sand/Cuphead treatment next?
I actually thought about this one because I have a sad answer, which is Beautiful Joe.
Oh,
I think I'm giving up hope on Beautiful Joe actually getting added as a character, but I think Beautiful Joe costume would make an excellent Mii Fighter costume as the brawler or whatever. I think that'd be
I think you're right. I think that would be great, and then maybe it'll get everyone's hope up for a new Beautiful Joe video game, and then it would never come, and then we can all be really sad together. Mm-hmm. But no, I think I agree with you on that. I'm trying to think of anything really obscure that should get the treatment. Cinderace.
The bunny?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the bunny Pokemon.
Okay.
It's not.
You do all the kick attacks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'll
Okay.
be fine.
I'm on board with that.
Yeah. Let's see. Let's do one more question. Do you have one?
Well, I was just going to say thank you while you're picking. There's so many good questions.
There are so many good
We're
questions.
choosing because you guys send them in. So thank you very much for all the questions you send in, even if we can't quite get to them all.
I do save some from previous weeks, which I'm going to do next. So let's do this one. This one is from actually last week that we didn't get to. This one is from Alan, and he says, "Hello to the cast of NVC. I wonder what Nintendo IP do you think would fit well in a horror/creepy setting or genre, other than Zelda, because I think you can put Majora's Mask in the creepy category. One port we are missing in the Wii U is Fatal Frame: Maiden of Black Water. It was one of my favorite games on Wii U, so this made me think of this question. And bonus, do you think Fatal Frame will ever come back? Keep up the amazing work, guys." Alan from Montreal. So is it two question?
Yeah. What's the first part? Is what would fit well? What Nintendo game?
Yeah, what Nintendo game would have a good horror/creepy setting?
I mean, there's an argument for just making a like gritty, realistic Luigi's Mansion, but I don't think anybody wants that.
I mean, wouldn't it be considered already kind of creepy? I guess not creepy enough. Majora's Mask was legitimately could be legitimately nightmare-inducing.
It's terror.
Yeah, it is. It was very terrifying and approached themes like death and lost love that other games hadn't at that point. A lot of other Nintendo games don't do.
This is one that I know will never happen.
Okay.
I think Pokemon could make for a really good horror game. If you went, like, especially with some of the stuff Detective Pikachu did with, like, realistic looking Pokemon and kind of the implications behind Pokemon going crazy, there's definitely fertile ground for, and I don't think the Pokemon Company or Nintendo will ever let that happen ever in a million years, but there is fertile ground for, if you kind of removed these are sentient friends aspect of it and said, like, okay, what would actually happen in a world where these things could just take over? Like, you could get some really, really dark stuff out of that.
I think in that same vein, I think a Detective Pikachu type game, but written for a slightly older, because Detective Pikachu, the writing was very obviously for like very young children, even younger than the Pokemon Mystery Dungeon series and the core Pokemon games. But if the writing was brought up to maybe like Pokemon Conquest level, I think, which is like a small step above the core Pokemon series, and made Detective Pikachu investigate ghost type Pokemon happenings. Because we get some taste of that in the core games. Like, some really creepy stuff can happen in the core games.
Yeah.
Like, I remember I was playing Pokemon X and Y and went into a department store and went on a level, and I took a few steps forward and the screen flashed and this really creepy girl came up to me and just looked at me and then disappeared. And I had no idea what happened. And I hope I'm explaining this happening correctly, but I went online and was like, what the hell is this? And people were like, it was really just a creepy Easter egg. And there was this whole story in Ultra Sun and Moon where you're going into the school and investigating creepy happenings, and a lot of them had real explanations, but there's one that just didn't, and it had to do with a Drifloon, which carries children off to hell. That's their whole storyline. There's a ton of really creepy Pokemon storylines, and I think having a Detective Pikachu investigating terrifying, creepy stories might be a good fit.
Duh.
Yeah. Go look at Yamask and see if you recognize the face of what it once was. Maybe get a Meowth to talk to it and be like, hey, in your past life, who killed you?
Jeez. Oh, this is going too far.
But you could do it.
Yeah.
So I think I will. Oh, yeah. And the other half of this question was, do you think Fatal Frame will ever come back? And I hope it does.
I mean, I'm inclined to say it wouldn't, but then also, like, we're getting a sequel to Deadly Premonition. And so I think that there's certainly an appetite or an audience for these sort of not like A-tier weird games that certainly could be fulfilled with this. And I actually completely forgot that the Wii U got a Fatal Frame game. Like, this was completely off of my radar. So it's not so cold in the ground, right? Like, they could easily bring something like that back.
No, I agree. And I know that we got the first time I went to E3, it was 2016. I saw a demo of Fatal Frame. It might have been this one. I don't remember. It was a while ago. But I don't play horror games really a whole lot because they're creepy and I get scared easily and have nightmares even when I don't watch horror movies.
Fair enough.
But I really liked the storylines of the Fatal Frame games, and I thought the gameplay was really clever and interesting in a way that other horror games didn't do. Because I mean, kind of carrying around a gun has been done. It's kind of run of the mill by now, but shooting things with a camera, huh? Spooky Pokemon Snap Fatal Frame. That's the next crossover we're going to get. Okay. Thank you so much for writing in so many wonderful questions. Like Tom said, I'm sorry we couldn't get to all of them, but we will do another very long question block episode sometime soon. I assume so. There's not always a ton of stuff to happen going on to talk about, but we'll get through it. And remember, you can watch NVC or listen to NVC on your favorite podcasting platform or IGN.com or YouTube.com every Thursday at 3 p.m. Pacific time. Thank you so much for watching, and remember, this is the only place you can
Get the thing.